There are
Yeah.
usually three reasons why a house doesn't sell. One of them is the
Mhm.
price. That's the very primo one. Another one is kind of location and things that you can't change. And a third one is the marketing. In this day and age, marketing means digital footprint. Okay, so like rates are basically where they're going to be for a while right now, or is there going to come down
Um,
a little bit more, or what do you think?
so last week, the week ending September 5th, yeah, Friday the 5th. So last week we had the biggest one-day drop that we've had in a year, and also rates are at the lowest they've been in a year. So that was great that they dropped. It's not great that they dropped because the jobs report was weak. That's what led to that, is that we had a weaker than expected jobs report. I think they were expecting the numbers to be like 75,000, and instead the numbers were 22,000.
Okay, and the jobs report is what?
That's like how many jobs were created.
New
And so
new jobs, and it's like
new
new
jobs.
non-farm jobs, right? Something like that.
Yes. So, and then there's always going to be an expected number that they're kind of working on. And then when the report actually comes out, then it's an issue of did reality meet expectation? And
Yeah.
in this case, it didn't. And that tends to help when the jobs report is not good, not optimistic, then that tends to be good for mortgage rates. And conversely, if it comes out really strong, sometimes mortgage rates don't drop the way that we would like. So after that, so that just happened, but kind of the general consensus in the industry now is to not expect any more drops, because we're in the low sixes now. Maybe 6.29, depending on where you get your number, but low sixes. And we may not see a significant drop in mortgage rates until the middle of 2026.
Right.
So,
So yeah, we talked just 2 weeks ago, and at
mhm.
that time it was going to be between 6 and 6.2, I think is what the thing was through the end of the
Yeah,
year at least. So now it's kind of extended out well into
yes.
next year. So
And this is not the first time they've extended the number out. I mean, there's just a lot of moving pieces in this economy,
yeah,
and with tariffs and now the jobs. So all people can do is predict, and so that is the general prediction, and that we will see a rate drop after that. But that time frame of mid 2026 is very much a moving target. So
yeah. Well, low six is not bad. It was up over seven
right,
too long
right.
ago, and people really didn't like that. So now this is a lot better. Um,
And
it's a
historically,
big
yeah.
chess game, right? There are lots of different pieces, lots of different ways they can move. The president, the government, everybody's, there are all these different moves going on. Like you say, it's complex and
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And all we need is one piece of news comes up that's unexpected, and all bets are off on all of those predictions. So, and the thing to keep in mind is, even in the low sixes, these are still historically, these are low rates. This mortgage rates are not
yeah,
high where they are
yeah,
right now. Would everyone like them to be lower? Sure, but they're not high now. So,
yeah, it's true. And at 6.2, you could spend a point and get it down to under six
right.
if you wanted to, right? That's
Right. And,
if you
and
can get your
you're
seller
always
to do that.
gonna think about how long you expect to be in the house when you're talking about paying discount points. But
Yeah,
that's a conversation I have with every client. Yeah, for sure. At this point.
yeah.
Yeah.
We should do a whole call about buying your rates down because I mean, it's a way to help, but it depends, right? How long you're there, how much it's
Yeah.
going to cost you. Yeah. So if
It
there's
is not a
math
magic
involved,
elixir. Yeah,
right?
and it is prepaying. You are prepaying. So it's not again, yeah, we could have a whole phone call on that, because really that depends on how long you expect to stay in the house, whether that's going to make sense for you or not.
Right. And we're still in a seller's market, so sellers don't have that much incentive to buy that down
Mhm.
for you right now. There's some negotiation going on, but maybe not quite that much. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and if you get some seller concessions or contributions toward the contract, I just had this conversation a day or two ago. Does it make more sense to spend those funds that the seller's giving you? Does it make more sense to spend those on buying points, buying your rate down, or does it just make sense to take the present value of that money and use it towards your closing costs and have your transaction cost you less?
Right. That way you're less house poor. You still have that little chunk of money that you would have spent on closing that
Exactly.
you can put back into savings, or you can use it toward some repair or
Yes.
modification that wasn't negotiated in the contract that still you'd really like to have
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, because especially when you're buying a house, if you can keep a little cash reserves, keep
Hmm.
some of your money and spend the seller's money on those closing costs, you have the utility of the option at that point in case you need to make a purchase or in
Yeah.
case something unexpected comes up, you still have your cash reserve.
Mhm. There
So
is always something with a house, right? It's
yes,
always
it is. It's a needy family member in a lot of ways. Yes.
right, right, exactly. And this family member can be like really expensive too.
Yes.
Things,
Expensive tastes and
right?
hungry all the
Right.
time.
And the way insurance is changing and going, that, just saving up for if something happens and you need to do that deductible, having a chunk
Yeah.
set aside for that so you don't get caught
Hmm.
between a rock and a hard place should a tornado
Hmm.
blow your roof off, right?
Yeah, I mean, and like the calculations in this particular case that I was discussing with somebody, the savings of buying the points down, it was $19 a month. And it was going to
Yeah.
take years to see the benefits of those savings, and it was going to be worth it more to her to just have her cash in hand than to save $19 a month. So
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So savings now, yeah, we were also going to talk about pricing your home in
I see the
this
home.
kind of market. It feels like we're kind of aiming at a moving target when we're talking about pricing, right? So we're seeing lots of price reductions. People are a little ambitious, or at the time that you're talking about getting ready to list or even just going on the market, this price might make
Mhm.
sense. But once you're on the market for 2, 3, 4 weeks, if it hasn't sold yet, then you need to pull comps again and look at them and see, does this price still make sense with what's going on in the market and the properties that have closed or under contract when we went onto the market? Because we're seeing like some houses are selling right away, lickety split, and others that feel like they're properly priced are just kind of sitting there with the crickets. They're not getting showings, and
Yeah,
essentially getting frustrated.
so when that happens, and when you, so I guess my first question is how I, you're able to have an honest conversation with the seller about the reality of the market, right? But I mean,
Yes.
I think sometimes we all love our home, and even if we want to sell our home, we love our home and it's great, and we
Right.
think it's worth X.
Right.
But that might not be what all of the market data says regarding the other houses like our house nearby. And so, yeah, how do you have that conversation with sellers about, you can't look objectively at your own house. I know I can't look
Right.
objectively at
Yeah.
my house. So
It's
how do you have that conversation with them?
it is about defining what market value is. Market value is not the money that you want to get out of it so you can put half of it in savings and buy a house with the other half. It's not so your kid can go to college for 4 years and the price of the home covers all the rent and all the taxes, all the utilities, all the expenditures while your kid was here. Maybe it's appreciated that much, but maybe it hasn't. I actually had
Yeah.
one seller who tried to do that, and he's like, "Oh, I think our value is good." And I talked till I was blue in the face, and it didn't go anywhere. It had like 2 showings and then it expired, and I don't know what they're doing now. I think they're renting it out, but he really thought his price was good. But another thing they were doing too was comparing their house that was 8 or 10 years old to brand new houses, new construction houses that are selling. New construction values are coming down just a little bit, but they're still
Mhm.
going to be higher than something that's already 8 or 10 years old with 8 or 10
Yeah.
years of use and sunshine and all the things that happen in a
Mhm.
house. So a brand new house, even if it's only 4 or 5 years, may not be the best comp for you. And you have to consider if a buyer's coming into your neighborhood and they see your house that's priced at, say, $105 a square foot, but a brand new house is only priced at $95 a square foot,
Oh, yeah.
they're going to get a brand new house that's priced lower. And
Yeah.
you're going to keep sitting there. So there's lots of things to consider, not just like what the solds are, but what are your comps and what are you actually comparing your house to? Is it accurate?
Mhm.
And are they fair comps? So your agent needs to be experienced and know and show you all the comps and look at the pictures and look
Mhm.
at all the condition and the updates and the upgrades and be sure that the comps you're looking at are relative to what you're trying to sell here. Uh,
Okay.
there are usually
Yeah.
3 reasons why a house doesn't sell. One of them is the
Mhm.
price. That's the very primo one. Another one is kind of location and things that you can't change. And a third one is the marketing. In this day and age, marketing means digital footprint, getting your house out digitally, because most everybody starts online, whether that's Zillow, Realtor.com, or a realtor saving a search for them, or they,
Yep.
you just search houses in College Station because you're looking to move here. It needs to put its best foot forward. That means you need to have
Mhm.
professional pictures with lights and
Yeah.
all that, not just dark cell phone pictures. It also
Hmm.
needs to put its best foot forward from the get-go, because you put bad pictures out and leave it sit for 3 or 6 months, then you change the pictures, it's still at a handicap and you're gonna have to lower the price.
Yeah.
You get less if you leave it sit at a too high price than if you had priced it a little bit lower at the beginning. So you end up losing if you overprice it. There
Yeah.
is no such thing as, we'll just price it high and leave room for negotiations. That doesn't work, and that's not in this market. That's not
But
it.
that seems to be what a lot of sellers want to do.
Yeah.
So, so then
It's
you have
a,
to have the conversation about that's not a good strategy.
right. It's faulty logic.
Yeah.
It's just not going to work. We're getting more houses on the market, so there's more choice. There are fewer buyers right now because people are waiting for those rates to come down.
Mhm.
It is a great time to buy, and it's still a good time to sell because there are buyers out there. But put out a good looking product
Yeah.
and price it appropriately. And I've had this conversation 100 times over. There'll be carpet that has all kind of stains and pet spots and stuff on it, and people say, "Well, we'll just leave it because they'll want to pick their own." Well, that's still that first impression, right?
Yeah.
So better to put some kind of builder grade carpet in so it looks nice at least. Maybe they'll
Okay.
change it out when they move in, but if it's gross, take it out.
Because most people who are going to potentially buy that house are not DIYers. I mean, I love the idea of a DIY, but I have also come to know that I am not most people. Most people
Right.
just want to move in, have it all done, and live their
Yeah.
life, right?
Well, people
So,
are busy. They've got stuff at work, they've got their extracurriculars, they have kids,
yeah,
whatever's going on, and they don't want to spend a bunch of time and money fixing a house. Plus,
yeah.
another thing like that, if the carpet or whatever, if the paint isn't fresh,
Mhm.
if it just looks dingy and gross, they're going to assume that everything else hasn't been taken
Yeah.
care of either. So they're going to assume the value of the home is like way less than it should be if you'd have just put a couple of grand into some new carpet and freshening up the paint a little bit. So
Okay. So that would be so like touching up paint, redoing paint.
well,
Um,
touching up is difficult because you think you have a color match, but there's
okay.
variation that happens. So people will touch up and then the house looks like it has chicken pox because you can see all those little dots.
So just repaint, just a fresh coat of paint.
Yeah, if you have a room that's really bad, just put a fresh coat of paint or just, the wall. If one
Mhm.
wall has a lot of spots, just do that wall and it'll look way better.
So what do you think about dramatic colors? If a seller has really dramatic colors in their house, do you advise painting over those walls or?
Yeah, that is so personal. Not everyone is into the kind of dramatic. There are different cultures in that, and different
Mhm.
cultures appreciate different colors. But for selling, kind of the neutral palette lets people imagine their own stuff in there, and it's not as like, well, not as shocking. We even see some maroon, which it's
Mhm.
A&M who's here. We're all Aggies,
Yeah,
right? But maybe people don't want a maroon room.
yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe kind of an accent wall would be nice, but you just have to be careful with the colors. Neutral is really the best. And it used to be everything was brown and tan, and then everything was gray for a while. Now things are moving to kind of white and the really light colors.
Okay,
So it just depends on what the trends are, right?
yeah. So I guess the idea is to make the house potentially appeal to the biggest group of people possible. So,
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
neutral is the way to go.
Neutral, move in ready,
Yep.
clean it, make sure everything looks good. Make sure your agent is not snapping cell phone pictures while they're there at the listing appointment. Get an appointment with a
Mhm.
professional photographer, take some good
Yep.
pictures and some good videos, and make sure that they're doing extensive digital marketing. That's where you're going to attract the most buyers.
Yeah.
And somebody who's been doing a bunch of digital marketing is going to have kind of a following and an audience that's already been looking at houses that
Mhm.
are similar to yours because they're in this area.
Yep. I know that's true for you.
It's totally true. It's totally true. So, and there are other agents in town who do a bunch of video too, and they have good followings. And it's
Yeah.
important to choose somebody who's savvy and who's with the times, right?
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
still do the old traditional methods, but I do not get buyers from the postcards I send out. Those old traditional things, just, very few houses sell
Yeah.
from open houses. That's a great way for an agent to meet other buyers and to talk to your
Mhm.
neighbors. But typically the houses don't sell from that. It's like 1 to 3% of houses sell from open houses.
So from an open house, yeah. So, and also, I guess one advantage of online is like with all of the digital things that you do, people have a good sense of who you are, and they can and that they're gonna understand what you're gonna do for them when they list your house because you talk about it, you talk about what works, and they're gonna have an idea of you as a person and that they want to work with you
Right.
before you even
Yeah.
have that initial phone call with them. So,
Yeah. I might not be everybody's flavor of ice cream, but there's other people too. And if they're out there,
yeah.
then you're going to get to know them a little bit. And it's really true. We get these kind of parasocial relationships going, but if someone's on all the time, you're going to start
Mhm.
seeing who they are and what their
Yeah.
character is and all that. So you'll see, excuse me, you'll see if you can work with them or not. But
Yeah.
just the three things. And I just got a referral in from an agent from Houston. The people don't live here, but their house is here, and it's been
Mhm.
listed for more than 6 months with someone else. And the pictures are dark. Um, they really focus on the land behind it, that the
Mhm.
pictures are all just dirt. It's not pretty.
Okay.
Not really much marketing going on there, and the price is too high. So I sent them a email and I said, I know you said you didn't want to come down in your price any, but here are the facts, here are the numbers. We were comparing to new builds. You need to take that in consideration and look at these pictures compared to, and they're very dark, and that, the house has different color curtains in every room. For starters,
Okay.
let's just take those curtains down so it's all kind of more uniform. Hopefully
Mhm.
there's some blinds underneath of there, but just bringing the light in and making it brighter, that's going to make a house look better already. So that digital footprint and seeing what it looks like, that's that, first impression.
Yeah,
So
just
important.
just showing the house off to its very best advantage. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, there's the truth. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of stuff that goes into the price, and that's one is when you're a seller, you have to be willing to do some things to your house to get ready if you want the best price. If you don't want to do anything, then you have to
Yeah.
be willing to compromise on your price a little bit. Can't
And
Carl's
I
can't charge primo price for not primo product.
and one thing I've learned that that I now understand that it affects me visually as a potential buyer just from working in mortgage is clutter. And that's like a really low cost thing to address, even is to just rent a storage room and get all that stuff out of your house so people
Right.
can see the house and not your stuff.
Right.
So,
Yeah, if I was gonna list, I would have like weeks of clutter elimination.
oh, me too. Me too. I mean, it's like, but that's true of everybody, and you're used to looking
True.
at your stuff,
Yeah.
but your house needs to look as close to a model home as possible, especially
Yeah.
if you think you're going to compete against new builds, because they
Right.
do look like model homes. Yeah.
They actually do. Yeah, and you're going to be moving anyway, so you need to pack that stuff up. And moving is
Mhm.
such a great time to decide what's really useful to you and what you really love and what you don't, and what's just taking
Yep.
up your space. So it's a good time to weed through things and donate some, throw some out, and then to reserve what is still useful to you and your family. So
Yep.
go ahead and get started on all that too. It takes a while to get ready to list your house, right? Unless you're a minimalist who, right.
I don't I don't think I know any of those. So,
I have a buyer buying one right now. It's actually in excellent condition.
mhm.
This is the first HVAC report that I've ever seen that has no recommended maintenance on it.
Wow.
Perfect. I mean, it's only
Wow.
about 5 years old, but I've had brand new listings. I mean, brand new build houses that buyers are buying, and there's stuff on the HVAC inspection report from
Mhm.
bad installation or whatever. But this is just a really clean unit with very little that needs to be done, and
Yeah.
it's awesome. So it's sold real quick. My buyer went to it twice and thought about making an offer on another house, but we couldn't make it happen. And so this one worked, and I think she's going to be real happy there for the time that she's here.
She's here. Very good.
It's real good. So lots of stuff to consider. The market is still good. There are agents who are having their best years ever, even though it's been a little bit weird and sticky this year.
Mhm.
But as sellers, you just need to be conscious of that. Be sure you're pricing appropriately. Be sure your agent is doing what they're supposed to do for you and get that listing out to as many people as they
Yep.
can, so you can bring in as many buyer potentials as you
Mhm.
can.
Yep. And listen to the expert advice telling you what the market says about
Yeah.
your house, your location, all of that. So,
Yeah, and it does make good sense, even no matter what the market is, to look at fresh comps every couple of weeks and just
Mhm.
keep your eye on what the market's doing. That way, I mean, it's hard to go up in price, but if you
Yeah,
need to adjust down so you don't get left behind, you should be reviewing those at least every once a month at least.
okay.
So
So, yeah, sounds good.
anyway, yeah,
Gosh,
so we're at a pretty good place with interest rates, and there's a lot of people that have been waiting for this. I think I have felt the energy shift
yep.
in this past several days and gotten like lots of new business just since.
I think the word got out. Yeah,
Yeah,
this last little drop at the end of the week, somehow that got out quickly, and I think people have paid attention to it because I've noticed a little pickup in action just in the last few days as well.
yeah. So all this
So,
pent up demand we've been talking about for
oh my
months.
gosh, yes.
These are the people that have been waiting. There's a whole nother layer of them that are waiting for in the fives. That as soon as that happens, that's when the prices are going to go
Yes.
back up because everybody
And
jumps on the bandwagon. So
the way you and I keep talking about, okay, well, then the floodgates are going to open when it does hit five. The floodgates are going to open or in
right.
the fives, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden we're at multiple offers and bidding it up and everything that we had before that people didn't like. So it's a great time. Rates have come down a little bit, and it's a great time to start looking. We're not expecting any dramatic changes in rates coming up soon. So it's a good time to be out there looking. Absolutely.
Like we said, there's more inventory than there has been. Inventory is
Mhm.
up.
Yep.
And there's still a bunch of buyers who are waiting. So now you have less competition among buyers, more to choose
Yes.
from. It's
And you are seeing
really ideal.
seller contributions. We are seeing those to
Yeah,
help
we
you with
are.
your closing costs. Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a great time. I mean, it always seems like we're saying it's a great time to buy, but it really is. This logic really makes sense. And
Yes.
even if it wasn't this perfect, houses are cheaper now than they're going to be in the future.
Mhm.
They're just not going to come down a whole bunch. We're a growing area. Texas is
Yeah.
growing. College Station, Bryan is growing. And yeah, so values are
Yeah.
not
And
gonna drop a whole bunch.
we're not seeing some of the, I don't want to say correction, but we're not seeing some of the pricing issues that they're having now in some of the bigger markets that grew so fast, like Austin, for instance.
Yeah,
Those things that you're reading about happening in Austin, they're not going to happen in Bryan College Station because the market is totally different. And
yeah,
we're not having tech pull out the way that you're seeing some of the industry pull out of Austin and the growth slowing a little bit. Um, we
yeah,
still have quite a bit of growth coming. The university is remaining constant and growing at a steady rate, as well as the industry that continues to come, that's already scheduled, that's like on board, and we know it's coming in the next few years. All of that is still happening. So
yeah,
we're kind of in a protected little bubble here, as far as we're not as subjected to the market and things that can happen like you see in the bigger cities like Austin, San Antonio, Dallas, that kind of
yeah.
thing.
That's true.
Yep.
Phoenix was a big example of that a while back. It's been a while now, but their prices tanked, and we're just
Mhm.
we're more insulated, like you say.
Yeah.
Just we don't have the severe ups and downs like other places do.
Right.
Like we're
Right.
seeing listing prices come down now, but that's not an indication that prices are really coming down that much. I mean, I think they're staying pretty close to where they were.
Yeah.
Look at that, what the median or the average values is. I think they're just
Right.
in a percent or two. It's staying really close and tight in there. So it's pretty stable, which is indicated by the 4.3 months of inventory. We're
Yeah.
getting towards a balanced market. So I mean, if it feels good, it's a good market. So
Yeah. Not going to be a crash. There's not a crash coming to BCS.
right,
In the
right.
Brazos Valley. So you still
Yeah,
hear people talking about, is it 2008? It is so not 2008 in so many ways.
right, right. Yeah.
Um,
Well, there's so much more equity across the nation. People have more
mhm.
equity in their homes. The value went up. Some people refinanced during when the rates were low, some bought at that low
Yep.
rate, and just the appreciation and you're making your payments
Yep.
increases your equity in your property. So unless
So
you run
yeah.
into some kind of dire straits and eating up your equity, you should be in a good position.
Yeah, and we don't write mortgages the way we did back in 2008. You have to really be qualified to buy your house now. So we're not seeing the poorly qualified or unqualified people who had mortgages that then lost them. That doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
You can't just get a mortgage as easily as you could back then. So
Mm.
we're making sure people are buying houses that they can afford, even if there is a little bit of a downturn. So it's just not that market that was a very perfect storm in a bad way
It
of
was, yeah.
factors come together, and we just don't have those factors present at this time. Yeah.
That's when I bought my rental property, was during that stated income time.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you imagine? I mean, can you imagine now? Can you
Right. When I mean, I was like, yeah, I make $1 million a year.
And those loans do still exist, I'm going to tell you, but they're not they're at interest rates that are commensurate with the fact that you don't have to prove your income.
Right.
So people tend to not do them because the interest rates are so high, because they're riskier loans. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if rates do come down in the fives, I'm going to be doing some refinancing just to save me a little bit in that way on the properties that I have. But,
Yep.
still the investment properties will be higher. It'll have to be low fives if,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's the market. That's supply and demand, and things change all the time. So the only constant is change.
Yes.
But
And that's why we're here every couple weeks talking about it.
exactly. But we're both relaxed. We're in a good place. Business is happening. Everybody's eating, and nobody's taking like really huge losses on houses, and they're not getting scalped trying to buy them, having to come
No.
up with an extra 50 or 100,000 on a house that's over the appraised value. So it's a pretty good time. So
It's a pretty good time, and we would love to help you.
yes,
So
we
we would
would.
love to help you, and just to get an idea of what you qualify for and what your options would be, because this is a good time to buy. Rates are pretty steady. There's plenty of houses to look at in just about every price point. And so we'd love to help you figure out what your options are.
Yes, we would. Call us. So while we're on here, we need to put in a few plugs for a few things that are going on around town. The Marine Corps birthday is coming up, the 250th birthday on November 10th. So that's will be an exciting thing. It's going to be at the VFW out on 2818 up in Bryan. That's open to the public and everything. You'll be seeing some ads and some events on that. And November 1st is the next Veteran Resource Fair and Claims Clinic. That'll be done with Operation Bravo Base and Brazos County. We're kind of branding, co-sponsoring that event, and it'll be a big fun day. So we're gonna have lots of extra stuff that we didn't have in February, and yeah, it'll be a good event. So
That would be another great time. Yes.
yeah, so if you're a veteran, a company that gives service to veterans, or you're a veteran-owned business, or you're a veteran, you can either be a vendor there or just come and enjoy the day. So listen and watch for the details. And yeah, we'll talk soon.
Sounds good.